Vaita Chandra Jaya Kamra Bhakta Vrinda Vande Guru Nisha Bhakta Nisha Nisha Avtarakan Tat Prakasham Tat Shakti Krishna Chaitanya Sangyakam Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahoditau Gaurudaye Pushpavanatau Chitrau Sandau Tamonudau Granthera Arambha Kori Mangala Charana Guru Vaishnava Bhagavan Tinira Smarana Hoya Vigana Vinashana Anayasa Sapal Nija Vanchita Purana Jai Jai Kripa Moy Jagatira Nath Sarva Jagatira Kora Shubha Drishtipad Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinatharinam Umagyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Shri Rupa Raghunatha Pade Yara Asha Chaitanya Charitamrit Kahe Krishna Dasa. Today is a very, very holy, auspicious day. Multiple important dates. Today is Guru Purnima, Vyasa Purnima. Without the mercy of Sri Guru and Diksha Guru, Shiksha Guru, Pat Pradarshak Guru, Chaitya Guru, what we would have been in this world? Nothing. Today is also the disappearance day of Srila Sanatana Goswami, who was like the Guru of whole Vrindavan. And therefore, when he left the world, everyone, as a sign of like remorse and feeling sadness, they shaved off their head and did Govardhan Parikrama because he was very fond of Govardhan Parikrama. So today, on this day, thousands and thousands and tens and thousands of people do Govardhan Parikrama. And today also is the disappearance day of Srila Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj. On this auspicious or day actually of Guru Purnima and Sanatana Goswami Pad's Tirobhav Divas, he winded up his pastimes in this world to join his spiritual master Abhisharanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So remembering all our Guru Varga, remembering Sri Sanatana Goswami, remembering Sri Bhakti Charu Maharaj, we will start reading today Chaitanya Caritāmṛta, Adi Lila, chapter 4. The confidential reasons for Lord's appearance. Read till text number 29. We're talking about the Vatsalya, Sakhya, and Madhuri Rasa, that how the Lord likes those more. And let's see further, text 30. Amiha na jani taha na jane gopi gana dunhara rupa gune dunhar nitya hare mana. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Neither the gopis nor I shall notice this, for our minds will always be entranced by one another's beauty and qualities. Purport: in the spiritual sky, the Vaikuntha, planets are predominated by Narayana. His devotees have the same features he does, and the exchange of devotion there is on the platform of reverence. But above all these Vaikuntha planets is Goloka or Krishna Loka, where the original personality of Godhead, Krishna, fully manifests his personal potency in free, loving affairs. Since the devotees in the material world know almost nothing about these affairs, the Lord desires to show these affairs to them. In Goloka Vrindavan, there is an exchange of love known as Parākiya Rasa. It is something like the attraction of a married woman for a man other than her husband. In the material world, this sort of relationship is most abominable because it is a perverted reflection of the Parākiya Rasa in the spiritual world, where it is the highest kind of loving affair. Such feelings between the devotee and the Lord are presented by the influence of Yoga Maya. The Bhagavad Gita states that that devotees of the highest grade are under the care of Dev Maya or Yoga Maya. Mahatmanastu mam partha devim prakritim ashritaha. Bhagavad Gita 9.13. Those who are actually great souls, Mahatmas, are fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness, always engaged in the service of the Lord. They are under the care of Devi Prakriti or Yoga Maya. Yoga Maya creates a situation in which a devotee is prepared to transgress all the regulated principles simply to love Krishna. A devotee naturally does not like to transgress the laws of reverence for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but by the influence of Yoga Maya, he is prepared to do anything to love the Supreme Lord better. Just one more paragraph. Maybe some of the devotee wants to read. It's long purport.
I can read, Prabhuji. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Dhanavat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Those under the spell of the material energy cannot at all appreciate the activities of Yoga Maya. For a conditioned soul can hardly understand the pure reciprocation between the Lord and his devotee. But by executing devotional service under the regulated principles, one can become very highly elevated and then begin to appreciate the dealings of pure love under the management of Yoga Maya. In the spiritual loving sentiment induced by the Yoga Maya potency, both Lord Śrī Caitanya and the dancers of Rasa forget themselves in spiritual rapture. By the influence of such forgetfulness, the attractive beauty of the gopis plays a prominent part that in the transcendental satisfaction of the Lord, who has nothing to do with the mundane sex, because spiritual love of God is above everything mundane. The gopis superficially seems to transgress the codes of mundane morality. These perpetually puzzles mundane moralists. Therefore, Yoga Maya acts to cover the Lord and his pastimes from the eyes of the mundaners, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 7.25, where the Lord says that he reserves the right of not being exposed to everyone. The acts of Yoga Maya make it possible for the Lord and the gopis in loving ecstasy to sometimes meet and sometimes separate. These transcendental loving affairs of the Lord are unimaginable to empresses involved in the impersonal fete of the absolute truth. Therefore, the Lord himself appears before the mundaners to bestow upon them the highest form of spiritual realization and also personally relish its essence. The Lord is so most merciful that he himself descends to take the fallen souls back to the kingdom of God, where the erotic principles of Godhead are eternally relished in their real form, distinct from the perverted sexual love so much adored and indulged by the fallen souls in their diseased condition. The reason the Lord displays the Rasa Lila is essentially to induce all the fallen souls to give up their diseased morality and religiosity and to attract them to the kingdom of God to enjoy the reality. A person who actually understands what the Rasa Lila is will certainly hate to indulge in mundane sex life. For a realized soul, hearing the Lord's Rasa Lila through the proper channel will result in complete abstinence from material sex pleasure. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Prabhuji, Bhakti.
Hare Kṛṣṇa, thank you so much, Prabhuji. So this is a lot of nice lessons here, as we were discussing yesterday also, that these pastimes of Lord are not some mundane boy and girl getting attracted to each other. The thing which is very high in this world, actually, the most searched word on the internet is unfortunately the word sex. Why? Because the whole world is running after it. But the spiritualists, the yoga maya, these pastimes of the Lord, which may seem to an less trained person or a spiritually immature person as mundane activities, are actually the highest form of rasa, pure rasa, shuddha prema, not selfish sense gratification. So therefore, if heard from the right source with the right intention, it will, as Prabhupada is mentioning in the last line, it will rather lead to complete abstinence from material sexual pleasures. But if we here artificially jump without purifying ourselves, so we have to purify that. Executing devotional service under regulative principles, one can become highly elevated and then begin to appreciate the dealings of pure love under the management of Yoga Maya. So one cannot just artificially jump to these pastimes without spiritual maturity. Otherwise, well, one will misconclude like the majority of the population. Because they think, oh, I like this thing, so let me just hear about that. But so then they misconclude, and then this their desires to enjoy bodily pleasures further increase rather than abstinence. These great souls like Narada Muni, Vyasadeva, and all our Guru Varga, they were completely self-realized. They were completely not indulging in all these bodily pleasures. So therefore they could appreciate these highest of the rasas. So let's read the next verse, text 31. Ms. Nandini Mataji, you want to read?
Yes, Prabhupada Pranam. Dharmachari rage dune karaya milana. Kabhu mile, kabhu na mile, daivera gatana. Translation by and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Pure attachment will reunite us even at the expense of moral and religious duties, dharma. Destiny will sometimes bring us together and sometimes separate us. The gopis came out to meet Krishna in the dead of night when they heard the sound of his flute. Srila Rupa Goswami has accordingly composed a nice verse, see Adi Lila 5.224, that describes the beautiful boy called Govinda standing by the bank of the Yamuna with his flute to his lips in the shining moonlight. Those who want to enjoy life in the materialistic way of society, friendship and love should not go to the Yamuna to see the form of Govinda. The sound of Lord Krishna's flute is so sweet that it has made the gopis forget all about their relationships with their kinsmen and flee to Krishna in the dead of night. By leaving home in that way, the gopis transgress the Vedic regulations of household life. This indicates that when natural feelings of love for Krishna become fully manifest, a devotee can neglect conventional social rules and regulations. In the material world, we are situated in designative positions only. But pure devotional service begins when one is freed from all designations. When love for Krishna is awakened, the designative positions are overcome. The spontaneous attraction of Sri Krishna for his dearest parts and parcels generates an enthusiasm that obliges Sri Krishna and the gopis to meet together. To celebrate this transcendental enthusiasm, there is need of a sentiment of separation between the lover and beloved. In the condition of material tribulations, no one wants the pangs of separation. But in the transcendental form, the very same separation, being absolute in its nature, strengthens the ties of love and enhances the desire of the lover and beloved to meet. The period of separation, evaluated transcendentally, is more relishable than the actual meeting, which lacks the feelings of increased anticipation, because the lover and beloved are both present. So Sambhoga and Vipralamba is discussed at the end, and saying that separation is more sweet and more relishable because it has the feeling because there's anticipation and it increases. So actually, I'm not qualified to speak on this topic. So Prabhu, I'll give it back to you. Hare Krishna Dandavats.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Mataji. You are very, very qualified, but you are very, very humble as well. So these are very esoteric topics of union and separation. And Srila Prabhupada is referring to that verse, which is actually by Srila Rupa Goswami from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. He's saying that, my dear friend, I'm reading the translation as it is, if you are indeed attached to your worldly friends, do not look at the smiling face of Lord Govinda as he stands on the banks of the Yamuna at Keshi Ghat. Casting sidelong glances, he places his flute to his lips, which seem like newly blossomed twigs. His transcendental body, bending in three places, appears very bright in the moonlight. In short, Rupa Goswami is saying, don't go to Vrindavan if you're attached to your so-called friends, family, etc. Because if you see the beautiful form of Sri Govinda, Sri Radha Shyam Sundar, then you will lose all the attraction of this world, which is the real thing, to develop attraction to Krishna. And if one is really attracted to the all-attractive, then what can the things of the world attract him or her? What is the beauty of anything or any individual or anything, even wealth, opposite sex, name, fame, beautiful house, beautiful car? This is nothing in front of the all-attractive Krishna. He is the Rasaraj. He is the source of all beauty. So in short, we should be attracted towards Krishna's beauty. If anything appears to us very beautiful, we should think, well, this is just a tiny spark of his splendor, right? Vedi, you know that verse from 10th chapter? That everything is spark of Krishna's splendor.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah, Krishna.
Yad yad vibhuti mat sarvam Śrīmad urjitam eva va tat tadeva vagachatvam mama tejvam sasambhavam. That one?
Very nice. Yes. What's the meaning of this?
It's Krishna saying that everything, like all the beautiful and like things like that, it just comes from a spark of his splendor.
Thank you. Which verse is it?
10.46 or 41. I'm not sure.
Good, good. You're also scholarly. Sampada, which verse is it? 46 or 41?
I think it's 46.
46. Laksha, you have reached so far in your verse memorization? How far you have reached?
Not yet, Prabhuji. I've only reached like the 9.13.
9:13. Good. What's the verse 9:13?
Mahatmanastu mam partha divin praktim ashrita bhajanti ananyaya manaso natva bhutadam abhyaya.
Good job. See, we just read that actually verse. All of you are becoming so scholarly. We just read, Prabhupada quoted 9:13 in text number 30. So all these verses are very, very potent actually. If you memorize, therefore they have been very selectively chosen. So okay, good job on the verses. Let's move on to the next verse. Adi Lila chapter 4, text 32. Would someone like to read this one? Shri Mataji, you want to read? Ready?
Hare Krishna. Ei sabha rasa niryasa kariba ashvada. Ei dvare kariba sabha bhaktera prasada. I shall taste the essence of all these rasas, and in this way I shall favor all the devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Who is I in this? Who is I?
Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Yes. Basically, Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami is telling the heart of Lord Chaitanya that the Lord wants to experience all these rasas and shower or exchange those with his devotees. And in this way, favor all the devotees. How Lord Chaitanya was dancing with his devotees, playing with his Nimai's friends, and of course got married also, and then later took sannyas. So the experience of viraha and sambhoga. So of course, in a very transcendental way. So the Lord is sharing all those rasas with his devotees. Good. Yes, text 33. Ishan.
Vrajera nirmala raja shuni bhatyagana raja marje bhajayena chari dharma karma. Then, by hearing about the pure love of the residents of Vraja, devotees will worship me on the path of spontaneous love, abandoning all rituals of religiosity and fruitive activities. Many realized souls such as Raghunatha Dasa Goswami and King Kula-Shekhara have recommended with great emphasis that one develop this spontaneous love of Godhead, even at risk of transgressing all the traditional codes of morality and religiosity. Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, has written in his prayers called the Manashiksha that one should simply worship Radha and Krishna with all attention. Na dharmam shruti gana niruttam kilakura. One should not be much interested in performing Vedic rituals or simply following rules and regulations. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, back to you.
There's a little more, but I'll read.
Sure, Prabhuji. King Kula-Shekhara has written similarly in his book Mukunda Mala Shotra. Nashta dharme navashu nichaye naiva kamo pago bhoge. Yad bhavyam tad bhavatu bhagavan purva karmanur upam. Etat pratyam mama bahumatam janma janmantare pi tvat padambo ruha yuga gata nischala bhaktir ashtu. I have no attraction for performing religious rituals or holding any earthly kingdom. I do not care for sense enjoyments. Let them appear and disappear in accordance with my previous deeds. My only desire is to be fixed in the devotional service to the lotus feet of the Lord, even though I may continue to take birth here life after life. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Prabhuji, back to you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Guru. So here, basically, that even if one has to abandon the so-called dharma, the so-called karma, fruitive activity, religiosity, etc., but one should come to the path of spontaneous love. Can anyone give any examples that pure devotees abandon so-called dharma, so-called karma for spontaneous love towards Krishna? Any examples ringing in your mind? There are many examples actually.
Is it like Bharat Maharaj, Prabhuji?
Can you elaborate, like which incident you're referring to?
So I was thinking Bharat Maharaj, he was renounced. So he was not following the like cleanliness and all, but internally, externally he was like that, but internally he was renounced.
Jad Bharat, you mean, right? Later.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, Jad Bharat.
Mm-hmm. There is Ramayana Bharat, there is Bharat Maharaj before he. But yeah. Avni and Veda, you all did a drama. Remember? Rishabdeva. Sorry, Vasudhi Mataji, please tell. Sorry.
Rishabdeva also, though he is the incarnation of Lord, but he also behaved differently.
Very nice, yes. He also later took the Avaduta. So basically all the Avadutas. Yes, Avni Vedi, you did a drama on this theme.
Was it the gopis?
Yes, the gopis gave the dust of their lotus feet. Is it very moral? This is a nice dharma to give the dust of the lotus feet to Krishna. He said to hell with the dharma. Their love was so high, forget about dharma and all. Even if we have to go to hell, if it pleases our beloved, that's what we all want. All other so-called yogis, so-called devotees, they didn't give. Right? Same when Krishna called all the gopis at the dead of the night, they all gave up all the so-called dharma. I mean, they're not supposed to go out of the home in the peak of the night, but if Krishna is calling, that's the highest dharma. Save dharma sunishtita pumsam vishwaksena katha suyar. Nautpadi didirati shramaya vakevalam. The dharma which does not awaken love for Krishna is shrama. Save pumsam paro dharmu yato bhaktir adhokshache. Ahetuki apratihata yatma suprasidati. Ahetuki apratihata. Spontaneous and unalloyed, without any motive. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave him prasad. He had not even brushed his teeth, he said. Then also he ate it. The Lord is coming, to hell with the brush. He took that time. Although as per moral conducts, you can't accept. But so that we see the nice, we cannot artificially imitate all these principles. We have to follow the Raganu, the Pancharatrika Vidhi and the Bhagavat Vidhi parallel, like I think the parallel tracks on a train. So the do's and the don'ts and the regulative, the Shravan Kirtan Adi. So what that means, one devotee gives a nice example. The rituals are like the envelope, right? You have all seen an envelope. And the letter inside is the devotion. So is the letter more important or the covering more important? Or, both are very important, right? Both are important, but on the relative scale, the letter is more important. But without the covering, the letter will not go to the destination. That means without the envelope, how will the letter go to the destination it's supposed to go? So that means we need to offer the rituals with love and devotion. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yomi bhaktya prayachati. Bhaktya. Tadham bhakti upaharitam. Upahar भगवान को देना है भक्ति के साथ. You have to give that upahar of flower, fruit, any offering, water, leaves, etc., whatever, with bhakti. Even in mundane circles, let's say, if someone gives us a very expensive thing, but it is done very disgruntly and with no real affection and just, will we like it? No good mood. We won't like it. But if someone gives a small pen or a small, even a very tiny, materially very insignificant thing, but with a lot of love and gratitude and genuine feelings, we would all, I'm sure, we would all love that much more than an expensive gift which is done with, in a bad mood. So basically, same applies to Krishna, or rather, we should say, same applies to us. He's the source of everything. So you have to offer with bhakti. The rituals are like the envelope. We can't just give up everything, and you have to have a nice balance of those. Yes,
So
Mataji wanted to say something.
Can we say Raghunath Bhatta Goswami also did the same thing? He left his wife and everything to go to Lord Chaitanya.
Yes, eventually, after multiple attempts, he also did that.
And it's very interesting how Prabhupada said just 2 texts ago that the word was relationships, but later in the purport he says they just leave all designations. So it doesn't say relationships. And I wanted to add that it's very important to see our relationships are also kind of designations. They're temporary, they're not eternal. And they're if they're not making us more Krishna conscious, then they're definitely just designations. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. And Prabhupada's example is also a classic example, right? Prabhupada said tea, or Prabhupada's wife said, when Prabhupada came back one day home, she had sold the Bhagavad Gita translations to Raddiwala. You know Raddiwala? Some of the kids here may not know. What do we call in English? It's like, this is just to explain to the kids who are here, who were born here. So basically in India, there's a system that they take old paper, old books, etc., and they give some money back. It's very insignificant. I don't know if they still do it, but it was done at least 20 years back or 10 years.
Paper and metal.
Yes, but actually here you have to pay for the recycling. But over there, they come and pay you. So it's kind of recycling, but they give you something. If you give, let's say, 10 pounds of paper to them, old books, old whatever magazines, they will give you some money, few dollars, just to understand. So what happened? Prabhupada's wife sold thought is junk paper. She sold that to get some, money for biscuits or some just grocery. And Prabhupada was just imagine, right? He had put all the hard work, his sleepless nights, and she just sold it for just few rupees. He was really heartbroken. And then multiple incidences happened like that. And finally, Prabhupada said, tea or me? And then she told me, said tea, then Prabhupada. And then there were other instances also, like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur also coming in Prabhupada's dream. So, and then finally Prabhupada decided to enter sannyas ashram. So, yes, Vaishnavi Mataji, you were saying something, or you wanted to say?
Okay, so what I was
Yeah, your voice is little. Can you please keep the microphone a little closer? I can't properly hear you.
okay, I was going to say, as an example, we can even see that in Prabhupada's disciples. For example, Aizar Prabhu, he saw Harinam party and then he just ran towards the Harinam party and joined and never left ISKCON after that.
Wow.
He even lost his shoes while he was running towards the Harinam party.
Lost his what?
Shoe, one of his shoes.
Shoes. Wow.
So that was it for him. So we can, we can see many of them who have done that sacrifice. And they had been spontaneously attracted to this.
Wow. That's amazing. Thank you so much, Mataji. Would you like to read this verse? It's a longer purport, so we can read in multiple parts. Does anyone want to start this verse? Yes, Sampada, Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna. Vrajera nirmala raga suni bhakta gana raga marge bhajayena chadi dharma karma. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Then by hearing about the pure love of the residents of Vraja, devotees will worship me on the path of spontaneous love, abandoning all rituals of religiosity and fruitive activity. Purport. Many realized souls such as Raghunatha Dasa Goswami.
I'm so sorry. I think I didn't turn the screen. It's 34. Sorry, Sampada, Mataji.
Okay. Anugrahaya bhaktana manasim deham ashitaha bhajate tadrishihi krida yaha sutva tatparo bhavit. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Krishna manifests his eternal human-like form and performs his pastimes to show mercy to the devotees. Having heard such pastimes, one should engage in service to him. Purport. This text is from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 10.33.36. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has innumerable expansions of his transcendental form, who eternally exists in the spiritual world. This material world is only a perverted reflection of the spiritual world, where everything is manifested without inebriety. There everything is in its original existence, free from the domination of time. Time cannot deteriorate or interfere with the conditions in the spiritual world, where different manifestations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are the recipients of the worship of different living entities in their constitutional spiritual positions. In the spiritual world, all existence is unadulterated goodness. The goodness found in the material world is contaminated by the modes of passion and ignorance. The saying that the human form of life is the best position for devotional service has its special significance because only in this form can a living entity revive his eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The human form is considered the highest state in the cycle of the species of life in the material world. If one takes advantage of this highest kind of material form, one can regain his position of devotional service to the Lord. Incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead appear in all the species of life, although this is inconceivable to the human brain. The Lord's pastimes are differentiated according to the appreciating capacity of the different types of bodies of the living entities. The Supreme Lord bestows the most merciful benediction upon human society when he appears in his human form. It is then that humanity gets the opportunity to engage in different kinds of eternal service to the Lord. Special natural appreciation of the descriptions of a particular pastime of God indicates the constitutional position of a living entity. Adoration, servitorship, friendship, parental affection, and conjugal love are the 5 primary relationships with Krishna. The highest perfectional stage of the conjugal relationship, enriched by many sentiments, gives the maximum relishable mellow to the devotee. The Lord appears in different incarnations as a fish, tortoise, and boar, as Parasuram, Lord Rama, Buddha, and so on, to reciprocate the different appreciations of living entities in different stages of evolution. The conjugal relationship of amorous love, called Parākiya Rasa, can you scroll down, Prabhuji? Thank you. Unparalleled perfection of love exhibited by Lord Krishna and his devotees. A class of so-called devotees known as Sahajiyas try to imitate the Lord's pastimes, although they have no understanding of the amorous love in his expansions of pleasure potency. Their superficial imitation can create havoc on the path for the advancement of one's spiritual relationship with the Lord. Material sexual indulgence can never be equated with spiritual love, which is an unadulterated goodness. The activities of the Sahajiyas simply lower one deeper into the material contamination of the senses and mind. Krishna's transcendental pastimes display eternal servitorship to Adok-saja, the Supreme Lord, who is beyond all conception through material senses. Materialistic conditioned souls do not understand the transcendental exchanges of love, but they like to indulge in sense gratification in the name of devotional service. The activities of the Supreme Lord can never be understood by irresponsible persons who think the pastimes of Radha and Krishna to be ordinary affairs. The Rasa dance is arranged by Krishna's internal potency, Yogamaya, and it is beyond the grasp of the materially affected person. Trying to throw mud into transcendence with their perversity, the Sahajiyas misinterpret the sayings Tat Paratvena Nirmalam and Tat Paro Bhavit. By misinterpreting Tadrishihi Kridaha, they want to indulge in sex while pretending to imitate Lord Krishna. But one must actually understand the importance of the words through the intelligence of the authorized Goswamis. Srila Narottama Dasa Thakur, in his prayers to the Goswamis, has explained his inability to understand such spiritual affairs. Rupa Raghuna. Rupa Raghunatha Padeha Ibe Akuti Kabehama Bhujavase Yugala Priti. When I shall be eager to understand the literature given by the Goswamis, then I shall be able to understand the transcendental love affairs of Radha and Krishna. In other words, unless one is trained under the disciplic succession of the Goswamis, one cannot understand Radha and Krishna. The conditioned souls are naturally averse to understanding the spiritual existence of the Lord, and if they try to know the transcendental nature of the Lord's pastimes while they remain absorbed in materialism, they are sure to blunder like the Sahajiyas. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Prabhuji, back to you. Please explain.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Prabhuji, for reading this wonderful verse. This is from Bhāgavatam. Anugrahaya Bhaktanam. To show his special mercy to his devotees. Anugraha means to show mercy. Manusham Deham Ashrita. Krishna accepts the human-like form, Manusha Deha. And why? To inundate his devotees in his loving pastimes, so that we can be attracted towards the real thing rather than being attracted towards the things of this world and the people of this world. We can be attracted to the real thing, that is Krishna and Shri Radha and Krishna and his loving pastimes. So one should not consider the deity as an ordinary stone. One should not consider Guru as an ordinary human being. Today is Guru Purnima. Guru is like walking Krishna, talking Krishna. This is also an anugraha of the Lord, a special potency of the Lord, that he has sent his bona fide representatives to help us come out of the cycle of birth and death, which is only possible in this human form of life. Rest species of life do not have that privilege. A dog does not hear Bhagavatam class, maybe 1 in 10 millions. But humans are out of this 8.4 million species, the humans are the topmost in consciousness. So one should use those abilities, skills, consciousness for the topmost thing. And what is the topmost thing? To develop Krishna Prema. Prema Pumartho Mahan. That's the topmost thing. If we use those abilities, consciousness, intelligence to do things what the animals, dogs, cats, fishes, birds are doing, basically eating, sleeping, mating, defending, then what good is the human form of life? Manushya janama paya radha krishna na bhajiya janiya shuniya vishakhainu. Having attained this human form of life, not worshipping Shri Radha and Krishna is like knowingly drinking poison. Will any one of us like to knowingly drink poison? No, right? No one wants to drink poison. What to speak of knowingly drinking poison? So his pastimes are like his form of his mercy potency. Same with the spiritual master, same with the scriptures. It's his mercy is giving us this Bhāgavatam, Caitanya-caritāmṛta, Bhagavad Gita to read, so we can be attracted to his pastimes, name, form, qualities, instructions, his devotees, which is the real sum and substance. Otherwise, what else is there in life to achieve? So, and Lord comes not only in human species. Some people like fishes. Okay, you like fishes, then be attracted to Matsya. Or you like tortoise, Kurma. Or you like birds, Garuda. Or you like snakes, Vasuki. so many. Basically, one can see that Nana avataram karot bhuvaneshu kintu Krishna swayam sambhavat paramah pumanya. Warrior incarnation, dwarf incarnation, so many ways. Rishabdev and Kapiladev. Someone likes philosophy, okay, Sankhya. Here Kapiladev. Someone likes, dwarf. Then here about Vamandev. You'll be hearing about tortoise. Okay, you have Kurma Avatar and Samudra Manthan Lila. Matsya Avatar. So many varieties there. Why? And anyone in Chaitanya Mahāprabhu, Krishna, so many pastimes they did as cowherd boy, as so many mischiefs, pranks, playing, dancing, stealing butter, so many wonderful Lila, killing demons. So we have to follow the footsteps of Sri Rupa Raghunath Pade Haibe Akuti. Not take it cheaply. That's another important point. Sahajiya. Sahaj means cheap. Sela. It is not cheap thing. Bhakti is not sahaj. It's not just crocodile tears, or it's not something very cheap. Bhakti is like walking on a razor sharp edge, right? That means we have to follow the system, the do's and the don'ts, the prescribed processes. So devotees are strict sadhana, strict regulation, When we take a vow, we take a vow. Vow means it's not sahaj. We don't take a vow in the time of initiation. Maybe I'll try to chant sometime. How does that sound? Right? Very sincere, strict? No. In material life, if boss gives the project, say I want this project by end of next week, what will we say? Okay, yeah, I'll see if I get some time. Maybe I'll try to do this. Do we say like that? That's like, no, get out, right? There are other people who can do this. So we should take it seriously, right? The vows should be like the lines in the stone, not the lines on the sand. The lines in the stone are forever, right? With the waves of winds and the ocean, water and time, the lines in the stones will not change. So today's Guru Purnima, we can think about our vows to the Guru, vows to Śrīla Prabhupada, strictly and sincerely chanting the holy names, strictly and sincerely following the regulative principles. That will please Guru. That means we're not taking it sahaj. If we take it sahaj, maybe I'll chant, maybe if time permits, maybe if I'm really feeling in a mood, I'll chant, maybe sometimes here, there, it's okay. Then it will be okay only. It will not be, it will not get intense. Bhakti means intense. Krishna consciousness. So we have to the water will not boil. As His Holiness Bhakti, His Holiness Sachidananda Swami Maharaj gave a class in Alachua, gave a seminar on this topic. You just have to boil water. Okay, boil the water. Then you turn on for 2 minutes, then let it cool for 10 minutes. Turn on again 1 minute. Let it cool. Turn on. Will it ever come to a boil like this? It will never come to a boil. You have to do it consistently and continuously. Then only it will turn hot, and then only it will come to vaporize. It's like boiling of the anarthas. Hot and cold will always be lukewarm. In the Bible it said, we should not be lukewarm. We should try to be like Shri Rupa Raghunatha Pade Haibe Akote Kabahama Bhujabe Se Yogala Priti. All our acharyas, they were not lukewarm, they were intense. So meditating upon Sri Guru, meditating upon Sri Sanatana Goswami, meditating upon Vyasdev, meditating upon our glorious Guru Parampara, meditating upon Srila Bhakti Charu Maharaj, who basically was an embodiment of surrender to Sri Guru and living a life of great devotion, always teaching by his example. So, anyone has any quick comments, additions, questions before we wrap up for today? Anything anyone wants to say, tell, ask?
Yeah, today we had a very nice association of lot of devotees in Lila and Prabhuji. It's a 3 days celebration of Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj Tirobhava. They were glorifying, and they released a new documentary video about Maharaj. It was amazing, Prabhuji. The way Maharaj gave his life for the sake of Srila Prabhupada, and also ISKCON. It was wonderful, Prabhuji. Thank you, Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, so we will pause here for today. Grantra Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Purana ki jai,
Jai.
Śrī Vyasadeva ki jai, Śrī
Jai.
Sanatana Goswami Pad ki jai,
Jai.
Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai,
Jai.
Jai.
Lila Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj ki jai,
Jai.
Veta Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai,
Jai.
Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitayam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.